This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everyone. We wanted to take a few moments to kind of spend with you all to teach you about a skill that has been really helpful to us and just kind of use this time to reflect. Although we're not together in person, I think this is a really important time to feel connected and to kind of share some of our skills and knowledge that we have, and quite frankly, skills that we use on a daily basis to kind of help ourselves stay sane throughout this pandemic.
So our focus as we shift into this new school year is, of course, going to be social and emotional well-being of the children and families that we serve. And a main component of that is our own social and emotional well-being. We must be well and put our oxygen mask on first, as Becky Bailey says, to be able to then take care of others, and especially when that comes to the children in your classroom. So I want you to think of a time where maybe you're around someone who is feeling very anxious or stressed out. And you might have also then started to feel stressed out or anxious. And think about what that was like for you. And then the other side of that is, when is a time that you've been around someone who was particularly calm and had a calming presence and made you then feel calm and you were able to download their calm? And what was that like for you then? One skill in particular that we would like to share with you to help build this self-awareness and be able to put that oxygen mask on is called resourcing. And so Emily is going to lead us through a resourcing exercise. And this will be our first skill to practice building this window of tolerance to promote our own resilience.
Yes, so try to find a comfortable place. And so we're just going to start by kind of explaining what a resource is. So a resource can literally be anything that helps a person feel better. So it can be a characteristic that you maybe like about yourself, a really positive, happy memory, a person who brings you a lot of like joy and peace, a place, an animal, a spiritual guide, or anything that kind of helps you to feel calm and peaceful. So the resource is simply brought to your mind, and you think of at least 3 details about the resource that are remembered and kind of come to you really clearly. So once your attention is directed to the sensations that are pleasant and neutral, we're kind of learning how to regulate inside. So I want to start by asking everyone to just take a minute and think about what really gives you strength, what kind of gives you peace, and what brings you joy in your life. Or describe a person, place, animal, or spiritual belief that sustains and nurtures you. So just take a few moments to think about one. And as you think about that, I want you to describe with more details about your resource. So the goal of that is to kind of intensify the sensation connected to this resource or this positive memory. And so this is really important as far as fully experiencing the resource. So what are some of the details about your resource that come to mind when you pull it up in your head? And remember to think of like 3 different ones that you can think of with those details. And they want to ask, what smells come to mind when you think of that resource? What sounds maybe come to your mind when you think of that resource? Are there visual images that feel pleasing to you about that resource? And as you describe the resource, bring your attention to what is happening inside. So what's happening internally as you begin to think about this resource? Do you feel warm? Do you feel calm? How is your breathing? What is the rate of your thought process? And I want you to think about where in your body you feel the sensations that are pleasant or neutral to you about your resource. And I want you to really take your time with this one. And I want you to notice what is happening inside of you as you think about this resource. And I want you to notice the sensations that are pleasant to you and the sensations that are maybe neutral to you. And now I want you to track your nervous system. So paying attention to your breathing, to your heart rate, to your thoughts, maybe your muscle relaxation, and just beginning to really notice and pay attention to what is happening. Is it going slower? Has it gone faster? How do your muscles feel? What is your breathing like? How is your heart rate right now? And I want you to really bring your awareness to changes that are pleasant or neutral. And as you really bring this resource to mind, sometimes there's new feelings or new thoughts or beliefs that maybe come up about your resource, and sometimes there's not. And if there are, bring attention to those sensations connected to that new feeling. Bring attention to those thoughts or those beliefs. And again, bringing your attention to the sensations that are pleasant or neutral within yourself right now. And with that, you might notice maybe like a small smile comes across your face as you think about this resource, or maybe it's that you really take a deep breath, or you close your eyes as you're doing this just naturally. And really just paying attention to those things when you find this resource. And so to end, I want you to bring your attention to your whole body. And I want you to notice all the changes that have happened just in these 5 minutes that we've been together. And I want you to really stay with that for a few moments. And I want to remind you that you can return to this resource at any time, any place, any moment that you're maybe bumped out of that resilient zone. And you can find a new resource, or you can repeat the exercise and kind of expand upon it if it's a resource that really just lightens your heart. And really just allow this to serve as a tool for you to use whenever you need it. It's always in your back pocket. It's always something that you can do. And so just kind of thinking about where you started coming into this, maybe where you were on that 1 to 10 stress level, and maybe where you are now after taking a moment to just be really present and to allow that resource to really bring you that moment and that sensation of even just a neutral presence in your body.
I noticed I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders, even when I'm not consciously aware that I'm feeling tense or stressed. And I did feel my shoulders drop. And that was a big cue that I knew that I had taken something from the resourcing opportunity. And I also felt my breathing get deeper, not such shallow, quick breaths, but rather deep and filling breaths. So those were two of my bodily sensations that I knew had changed to indicate that I was feeling some significant decrease, and then back into my window of tolerance.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful example too, because what we want to use with this skill, right, is when I notice my shoulders are up like this, that's a time that I want to access my resource again and take 5 minutes of my day to just be with that. And like you said, maybe, yeah, it's noticing that my breath is really shallow, or it feels like my heart is in my chest. and noticing those body sensations that were bumped out of that window to help bring us back into it. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think that's a really key indicator of something when we're in the classrooms that we can notice, like, oh man, my shoulders are up to here and my fists are tight, or I'm clenching my jaw, and those are maybe really good signals. Ooh, let me try this skill out and see how this maybe can help me adjust so that I can be present with the students I'm with.
Absolutely. And usually we're the last ones to notice those signals about us that we're carrying. And so if that's the case, then the children may have already picked up on it. So this is a great way to become more aware of your cues that your body and your mind give you. And then now you have a tool to use to be able to bring yourself back into your zone of regulation, your window of tolerance.
Yes. Well, I am really grateful that everyone spent these 10 minutes with us, and we are looking forward to kind of creating this series, hopefully, to share more tools and ways to help stay connected and regulated. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and I'm excited for what we bring to you next week.
Thank you.